Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ahead of the Curve. We're going live today here on April. What day is it?
The
April the
ninth.
8th.
Yeah,
April the 8th,
April the 8th already. I was trying to
2025.
put,
It's
that's right.
Tuesday evening, right here at 4:38 p.m.
A little chill in the air.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people they're not tuning in because they weren't expecting this, but they'll join us as we get going here. Um, Today, Bo, I want us to talk about something that's very important. That's really probably on a lot of people's minds, and a lot of people don't understand really what's going on. The tariffs that have been rolled out by the Trump administration.
Yes.
It's escalated. Okay, the news is talking about how all these countries that had tariffs implemented on them, 70 of those countries now are wanting to come and bargain. Well, first of all, let's just back up and talk about what a tariff is.
Yeah, what is a tariff exactly? You know, you
All right,
hear a lot about tariffs now. We want to know what a tariff is.
The big thing is when Trump came out and he had his list, he said, we're going to impose these tariffs on these countries. Well, what that means is that they're going to impose a tax. A tariff is a tax on, they call it a tariff because it's on goods.
That's right.
Okay. On anything coming from that country, the businesses that import those into the United States have to pay that tariff. Those countries do not pay that tariff.
That's right. It's a tax on the imported.
Right. What we import into the United States.
In our waters.
There's so many countries on that list that really are irrelevant that we don't get a lot of stuff. The big one is China.
That's right. That's the big one.
And today, Trump announced that now we're going to go up to 104% effective tonight at midnight. At 12:01 a.m. on April the 9th, this kicks in. And China is the big one.
And I saw that number earlier and I thought, is this right? Well, you've kind of ran some numbers and you are really seeing what's really going on.
Well, first of all, let me give you a little background. Okay. Our business imports quite a bit of stuff. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries that we get goods from that all of these are pretty decent suppliers to the United States for a lot of goods. Okay. But the main one is China.
Right.
China is we're probably importing 65% of our goods from China.
Most things you see nowadays,
and that's our company, but I think that's pretty much industries wide, just the retail business wide. If you go to Walmart,
everything,
probably 60 to 65% of their stuff is from China or made with products from China. Okay, packaging, raw materials, whatever it is. Okay. I think today, Peter Navarro on the Trump administration was talking about Elon Musk and Tesla. Well, they were getting products from China to use in their Tesla cars. Yeah. And of course, Elon Musk took offense to it and said he was dumber than a bag of rocks. Yep. And these two guys are like working together. All right. So tensions are high on this.
Very high.
All right. So these 6 countries, I'm just going to list them out: China, Vietnam, India, Pakistan, South Korea, and Taiwan. Let's go down the numbers. Right now, China has China goods have a 104% plus the 10-cent baseline tariffs, or a total of 114%. Now, I'm going to include the baseline tariffs that are just a flat 10% in these tariffs. Vietnam is 56. Now, Vietnam has come to the table and said, we want to go 0. Okay, so Trump is going to talk to them and negotiate a deal, and hopefully they will be on the good side. And we don't get a lot of stuff from them. There's some clothing and things made in Vietnam.
But it's not.
What's going on with Vietnam is they get a lot of their stuff from China and it's relabel it and say made in Vietnam. Right. All right, but India is a 36% tariff. Pakistan, goods from Pakistan is 39%. South Korea, 35%. And Taiwan, 42%. Now, a lot of these are alternatives to China, but the bulk of the relationships are set up with China.
Right.
Or Walmart, Target, Dollar General, most all the big box stores.
In the end, China's involved somewhere along the way.
I mean, just about every product you can think. This Yeti tumbler right here is made in China. I don't know what you got a Yeti there?
Yeah, it's a Yeti. We got this microphone.
This microphone's from China. That's from China.
Yeah.
This material that you see on this cloth is from China. Yeah. Elvis right here
was
made in China.
Not Elvis.
Okay, yes. The banner, the vinyl that you see right here, the components were made in China. So everything comes from China. So China is the only one that really matters. Yeah. I'm not saying only one, but they're the one that we have to cut a deal with.
It sounds like that they hold all the cards. It sounds like that they're in the strongest negotiating position. Is that true?
Here's the way I look at it. They got the toys and the goods and the goodies and all the things that we like to buy, and we got the credit card.
That's right. That's what it seems like. So
And when I say credit card, pretty much all that stuff has been put on credit lately because of the inflation that we've hit. People are struggling right now.
On top of that,
okay. So
does is Trump bluffing with this big number? Is this something that
I hope so.
Is this something that everybody's gaining on, that he's going for more right off the bat? And then you got this deadline tonight.
Well, it's not a deadline. It's when it kicks in
when
gear.
It comes in gear is this tariff is implemented at 12:01.
Yes. Now
tomorrow morning.
Okay, so here's what I understand. I've checked into this because I've got some orders placed right now that are already in the system, and it's my understanding that if you've had an order in the system before this 12:01 a.m. in the morning, then you're delayed. You get a grace period for that product to get to you, and if it was in the system beforehand, you can't backdate them. They've got a way of tracking that. Then you're not going to have to pay the tariff.
So that'll create an ease for the consumer, a temporary minor.
Well, it's that delay period.
It delays, I guess.
Let's talk about this because most of the time, these orders, once they hit the water, if they're from China, they usually come into Los Angeles on the West Coast.
Okay.
That's where the big port is.
Right.
You might have seen that during COVID.
Oh, during
they had all these pictures of all the backing up and all that stuff.
Big deal, yeah.
There is a backup right now because a lot of companies saw this coming. And if you've noticed, UPS has been delayed a little bit. Their expedited services overseas has been under stress, and it's created a trickle-down effect, even just to our delivery and our delivery times here in the States. But all of that you saw taking place. Well, the products come into Los Angeles from China for the most part. It takes about 28 days, sometimes less, depending on their logistic management.
Is that 28 days to the store?
No, 28 days to the port.
To the port.
And once they get to the port, that's where they sit. Once they cross into U.S. waters and they get into the U.S. Customs custody, which is where they cleared all these shipments through, that's when the tariff will be due. So I've got a shipment coming, and let's say it's $10,000 worth of product on a boat. It comes into port. Customs sends me a bill if it's from China for $11,400 more for that product.
And it's kept there until that's paid.
It's paid, and then they inspect it. Most of the time, it's just spot done, but then it's put on trucking, and then it's trucked to its final destination. It takes 4 or 5 days for it to get here. So the whole process is probably about 40 days once it hits the water. Now, the manufacturing time sometimes is anywhere from 30 to 90 days once you place an order. So it takes about 6 months in some cases to get products from the time you order it to the time it arrives at your door. So you've got this lag time. Unfortunately, most of the people on the that aren't distributors, that are just retailers, they order frequently, and they're getting it out of the stock from the warehouses. Right. Okay, this is going to start to dwindle after about 2 weeks, and something hadn't been done. It's going to start to dwindle, and we're going to start to see some products start to disappear off the shelves.
Okay, when you say that, that creates a lot of fear. But I think then the next statement I've heard a lot is, well, we can make it here, and we can make a certain product here. Well, most of that industry's gone now. We don't have it.
It's been going decades down the hill. All right.
So it's gone. It would be gone when you say.
Here's the thing: you can say, "Well, we just buy it from somebody here." These products you can't buy from here. Yeah. I mean, seriously, I look at the stuff. We buy a lot of buckles and snaps and metal hardwares. That's been gone for years in the United States. There's nobody here that makes them. Okay, the only place that they're made now is in China or other parts of Asia, but mainly China and Taiwan.
Right.
Okay, all these are tariffed. Yeah. These products are tariffed. So that means our prices are going through the roof. Now, let me give you an example of what it looks like behind the curtain. Okay. So let's just say you have a $10 product. Let's say that's $10. No, it's a lot more than that, but let's say that costs $10.
$10. We got our $10.
Okay, that's what it's been. Okay. Right.
That's what it's been.
And maybe back before COVID, that was $7. Well, it's gone up to 10 because of inflation.
I'll buy that.
All right. So now my cost on that item was probably $5. Okay. From the distributor level, buying it and stocking it as a distributor. Now my cost is going to be $10.70 after I pay that tariff. So the end result is it's not going to be $10 on the shelf anymore. It's going to be $21.40 on the shelf.
More than doubled.
More than double what that product is going to be on the shelf. So how can we take more doubled prices on our store shelves?
We can't. I mean, this right here should be a cause to concern from everyone. I mean, it looks like in this case, the things that we've depended on, all these plastics, a lot of plastics coming from China, a lot of paper plates, a lot of this and that. I mean, it's going to all go up, and then here we are stuck. We thought it was bad during the toilet paper epidemic.
It could be. Now, see, there's a lot of ifs. Let's just say Trump. You were asking me this before we came on. What if Trump decides I'm going to back off these tariffs on China? Well, he can do that at any time. He spoke it into existence. He can speak it out of existence.
Yeah, and he does that a lot. You know, that the bluff. He asks for a lot up front to be able to negotiate down. But it seems though that he doesn't hold the cards. That China holds the cards. But does China know that? Does China know that they hold the cards?
We hold some cards. Like I said before, we've got the credit cards.
Right.
We've got the consumers. We are a consumer-based nation.
We are.
We are not a producer.
And we tend to cut back a little bit, honestly. I mean, we are, but that's just,
here's the problem.
I probably wouldn't either. If
It's not just about cutting back. It's about trying to keep people working.
That's right. And when you cut back, people
when you cut back, you're not making sales. If I don't have this on the shelf, I can't sell it. I can't make a revenue to pay employees. The employees have to go home and sit.
But then again, we've got all these restrictions on all these things that we can't do, like that the government puts on us.
Yeah,
if they would
all these regulations.
Thank you.
Have you ever seen the OSHA book?
I'm sure it grows and grows.
It's that thick. The last time I saw it, and I got so sick, I just threw it in the trash.
But it's ridiculous. There's so much of that has cut innovation out. There's cut so many things, and now the land of innovation has become dependent on China.
You think China has an OSHA?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
They got an ocean, but not an ocean.
Now there's a lot of you were asking me about this child labor.
Yeah.
The culture in China is a lot different. Their children go to work early, but they're not beat like slaves to make them work. Okay. Do you see all these videos and stuff back and all this, our news media has shown this. Oh, it's inhumane and all this. Well, the culture over there is the kids do start working early. They get paid. And you got to understand these people in China that are working in their factories are making fractions of what, if we have factory workers over here, fractions.
Right.
Health insurance. They don't have health insurance. They have like a communist style healthcare system the government provides,
Right.
And
it's
worth what you pay for it. It's useless.
But they start at an early age. They don't get paid anything. I mean, they don't beat them, but they do their economics and their production in a totally different way.
Yeah, it's completely different. So we can't compete with them cost effectively. We just can't compete with them. Okay, so the idea of the tariff is you're going to penalize the companies that are importing, okay, and it creates that high price now that makes it, maybe there's an incentive to manufacture it here. Okay, well, it's going to take years. It's going to take years for us to
That's
manufacture.
The part I'm looking at.
You can't just pop up a tent. First of all, you got to build a factory. You got to get your machinery. You got to get tooled. You got to get workers that's willing to work in a factory.
Mm-hmm.
For not a huge wage.
We would have to. We would have to become.
What's a good wage for manufacturing?
I don't know.
$25, $30 an hour?
I would think so.
Okay.
I would think so.
We are not going to be able to compete with that type of salary.
There's no way.
There's going to be always somebody in the competition. But we do have some of the cards that we are going to buy your stuff.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
But we got it now. We are so dependent now on them that we got to have your stuff though. It's kind of like a drug addict.
Well, so where do we go from there? I mean, what could happen? This sounds scary. This sounds really worst case scenario.
As a conservative, Bo, I look at a tariff and I just see it as another tax.
Right.
I'm against that. I'm against it.
And it's a tax upon our own people. I mean,
but what Trump has done is he has diagnosed the country. You guys have got cancer.
Yep.
And the only way we can cure the cancer is if we cut it out and we treat it. Otherwise, we just keep dying.
And the cutting out part hurts.
Something has to be done. But I think we have to have surgery with a scaffold and not with a chainsaw.
Right. Exactly.
All right. So I think incrementally, maybe we can get to that point to where it's in increments. Maybe this year there's going to be 10%. Next year it's 20%. Next year it's 30. That gives us time to build the plants. There's some empty buildings probably sitting around. It's got to, you can come back in and retool those.
Yeah, I think
but technology's changed. There's robotics involved from the time we were booming in industry.
Oh, yeah. No, technology is in China now. It's all, none of the latest innovations are no longer here.
So there's some companies that have maintained it somehow and have competed. Well, it's going to take a lot of innovative people, which we have, but it's going to take a workforce that we don't have.
Yes.
There's so many people sitting at home. They'd rather die than work. That's the way it appears.
This sounds like this is not going to be good. I mean, if this goes in like this.
Our manufacturing generation has dwindled down. So now it's going to take a new generation, and this can't happen overnight. In 6 to 9 months, we're going to be in an economic nuclear winter if this goes through and he stays.
We're in a cold economic war right now, wouldn't you say?
Yes, we're in a war. We're in a war with China. It's about China. It's not about these other countries. These other countries, they don't buy anything anyway, but we don't make anything.
Right.
So the tariff to them is irrelevant.
Yeah, what are we sending to China?
Maybe some beans.
Maybe not
much.
So they could basically say, no tariffs, and it wouldn't.
I'm sure there's a few odd products here and there.
Yeah.
But it's not a big deal. So
you're saying the best case scenario would be, instead of this large upfront tariff, an incremental.
And if you look at the video that I shared with you this morning, Glenn Beck has Kevin Roberts. He is the president of the Heritage Foundation.
Yes.
And they were talking about how businesses are going to go out. Small businesses are going to go out.
Yes.
I encourage everybody to watch that video.
And a couple examples of already friends of his writing big checks.
Well, I can tell you right now, I'm already worried.
Yes.
Okay. So incrementally, we can handle it as consumers and as entrepreneurs and as people that sell products here. Okay.
Right.
We can incrementally figure it out.
Right.
But it's going to take years, not a few weeks.
And Heritage Foundation is a very conservative. I guess they are a think tank or whatever they are. And when they say that this is something that's not conservative to their ideas, but maybe it's something that has to be done. It's necessary. Yeah. Then I think that it really says a lot to
what's necessary is us starting to manufacture and produce instead of just consume.
Right.
We have car manufacturers, we have other factories, but a lot of the stuff that they're manufacturing is from raw materials from China.
Right. That's exactly right. And we're all these Temu apps and all these other little apps, and we're getting all this free stuff or this cheap stuff, that nobody can compete with. We've got to stop buying that.
But it's not cheap anymore. But most of the stuff that you see from China that's sitting on a shelf, if it's $10, the way things are right now, we could make it in the United States and sell it for $50. Right. Okay, what's the consumer going to do? Spend $10 or $50?
Yeah.
Right now, things are so tight. They're either not going to buy it or they're going to buy the $10 one, and the USA product is sitting over here left lonely, sitting on the shelf, and that's where we are at. And we have been spoiled for so long.
We have
got what's got to be changed is we have to start producing and not just consume.
Yes,
that's kind of like going out to eat at a restaurant every single night and never cooking your own meal.
Exactly.
That's what we've been eating out for 50 years.
You got to start. That's a great way to put it. You eat out and then now it's time to eat at home.
Okay. So how quick are we going to feel the price increases? I've calculated up. If we go 2 to 3 weeks of a gap with no deals put in place with China, May 1st, we're going to start feeling it.
So you're saying that May the 1st might be the day where you go to the grocery store or wherever, Walmart or wherever.
Dollar General or the hardware store, Lowe's,
and you might
Shelbyville Lumber Company, Kincaid Service Company,
and you won't see just a little increase. You might see
you're going to see massive increases at the good cost of goods that we're used to having down cheap, and this what it is 2 to 3 weeks. We've got to have something done. Trump and Xi have got to sit down and come out to a deal and take this tariff off the table. Because if this tariff stays, our economy is done.
Have they even gotten anywhere on negotiations that last you heard? I mean,
right now they're throwing rocks at each other.
That's what I thought. So they're just
now that's in the public.
Yeah, right.
We don't know.
Right.
They could be talking on the phone right now for all we know.
So at 12:01
12:01
a.m., do you foresee a pause
No.
to be put on? You think he wants to put it through to see
I
what
think
how China react?
They're playing chicken in semis. So they're headed. There's a cliff on each side. They're headed 100 miles an hour in semi trucks toward each other. And it's got to take, the only thing that can happen is both of them hit the brakes.
Yeah. I think that's what needs to happen the most right now. And then, because there's no way we can survive. Like, I mean, it seems like it's not real. I mean, you know, these numbers that you're throwing out,
they're not real until we start seeing them on the shelf.
But it really opens my eyes to how dependent we are of China. I mean, this is just this. I mean, we're talking about even the packaging, you know, the little plastic packaging, things like that. That's a lot of that. Those materials, the things that make that, are coming from China, and we've just sold out or we've quit working.
Hey, Tamara, good to see you. Tamara Price is on here.
Hey,
the amount of stuff that we're sending to China, Tamara, is so minute compared to what the trade deficit has been publicized between us. But we don't manufacture enough. Some of the things she's talking about, grain and soybeans, wheat, corn. All right. Semiconductors now, for the most part, I think, are Taiwan.
Yeah, they're not.
I think they're. I mean, but
and it was a big
Silicon Valley, like, kind of has sold out.
Yeah.
I guess, but
I think a lot of that is sold out, and that's.
But there's something here that she brings up that's really important: grain, soybeans, wheat, and corn. Who is that? That's farmers.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And our farmers have been taking it on the chin for years. Hey, California, fruit growers, all this stuff. That and the farming out there. We have rich land that we could farm and export.
But
okay,
but what are
why
aren't we doing that?
Well, the tariffs, okay, on that side create an advantage to where, but we're not going to, a disadvantage to us because we can't sell them because of the tariffs. Okay, that's the small part right there. We can sell beans to them if we get this lifted, but they so far outweigh us in production. Just go look at the shelves. If you don't believe what I'm telling you, go look at the shelves, turn up the bottom of the product, look on the box, and then do some research on the things that are said made in the USA. Most of the time, some of the components are from China that we make from. There has to be a certain percentage before it can either be made in America, made in the USA, or assembled in the USA. A lot of them you'll see assembled. I found out today one major company in the United States that has touted made in the USA for hundreds of years, well, over 100 years. I found out they get some of their parts from China. I'm going to get a price increase on that. And I never knew it because I thought everything was made in China. I think
if this goes through, that we'll see a lot that we didn't know was made in China. Is there any relief that we could get from the East, from shipping from the European nations maybe? I mean, do we get hardly anything that we could not get from China there? I mean,
there's not much. I mean, there is. Germany don't manufacture anything anymore, but they used to be a big manufacturer.
But it's mainly that China has just got such a glut on everything
because of the cost of labor.
There's no way that we could start importing.
They don't have regulations. They don't have a cost of labor to speak of. It's just putting these raw materials together with not much labor.
And some of these regulations are okay, like, you know, if it's really deathly. But a lot of these regulations that I've seen, and I haven't seen them all, are really silly. I mean, they're things that are really came across just to, on the far left, just to shut down things. And this is an effect to it. We don't have the innovation anymore. And that's what we are as America. That's America's innovation. You know?
Yeah, and we've got a chance here, but we can't destroy our economy.
Yeah.
Because what could happen would be far worse than the Great Depression if these tariffs stay up and we can't get products on the shelf because everybody's going to be going to the house and sitting because there's no products to sell. We've got to have the products. Now, there's going to be ways around tariffs and stuff, and there's going to be people sneaky. I know the Walmart CEO said, I'm not paying another penny higher. Well, it doesn't make any difference what he's doing in China. It's about what happens when they get here.
Right.
Okay, and I'm staring down the barrel of a shotgun right now, waiting to see what's coming out that barrel.
Right.
And we've got a couple weeks, Bo. And if things can get put together in a couple of weeks, we're going to be all right. But after 2 weeks, we're going to start to see it hit our doorsteps. And there's going to be a lot of shocked people because they think China's paying the tariffs. No, we're paying the tariffs.
We're paying the
we're
tariffs.
paying
It's
the tariffs.
what's coming in
right
here. It's not what
and
we're
that's
exporting.
not a lie. Okay, that's firsthand. I'm telling you, the next shipment I get, I'm gonna have to pay a massive tariff.
I got an email Saturday from an ammo supplier. It said, "Hey, Bo, we know we love you love buying from us, but we just want to let you know that there's going to be a large increase." And they put some numbers on certain quantities and things, and they're already. And I would assume that they're not the only one going ahead and sending out these.
Here's a problem with that, Bo. That's metal, okay, and unfortunately, China has dominated all metals. They own the steel business basically. They bought it all up, and we sat and watched.
We're not producing any steel in the United States.
You know why? Because we didn't need it. We didn't stockpile it. We didn't need it. It's okay. We can just import it from them now, but we don't produce enough to have it stockpiled.
But we still have the capabilities to produce, but we don't. That infrastructure is gone.
It's gone. It's
and that would take years.
Yeah, it's going to take a while.
But we can do it. I mean,
when Trump says, "I now am kicking off the golden age of America," that's assuming that we can gradually build this back up. We can't do it overnight. There's no way.
This is the hurt that we've talked about for a while that we could possibly experience while we're getting better. But
we can't. We can't tolerate the 114% tariff on China goods.
That would be total.
We can't survive it.
We can't
survive it.
Yeah,
and Trump knows that. That's where they have the disadvantage over. We have the disadvantage there, but we do have the consumers. So does China want to keep selling to us? Yes, they do.
Oh yes,
okay,
they do. I mean, they're dependent on us a lot.
Former leaders there just soon take their country down just to see us go down.
What is the relationship with Trump and China's president?
I think it's middle of the road. Okay. I think it's okay. I think he's a human being.
Okay. Well,
and I don't know. I'm just speculating on base of what I hear in the media.
But this is human. This sounds like that it's humanity tit for tat against each other.
I think China. I think what'll happen is China will hold hard. Trump will back down behind closed doors, but then come out and celebrate a win that we got a deal done.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to back off probably because I don't see China backing down.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Now,
I may be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope China comes to the table and says, "Hey, we have taken advantage of you over the years, but y'all been buying this stuff. So let's figure out a deal where it can coexist, and we've got to move forward because we can't just yank the carpet out from under ourselves."
Right. I just think I know that the way Trump works, and he likes to go all forward, up front.
Tamara brings up a point here.
Yeah, let's listen.
The generations coming up now in the future are not going to work in factories. That's our disadvantage.
We've got to have workers.
China knows that.
Yeah.
There's people right now in this younger generation, and I know there's a lot of hard workers in it, but the bulk of them had rather die than go work in a factory.
Yeah.
They'd rather stay on TikTok.
You're right.
Okay.
And the COVID, it really helped push that to a whole nother level.
But I encourage everybody to watch the Sunday interview with Kevin Roberts, Glenn Beck's interview. You go to Glenn Beck's YouTube page.
It's on YouTube.
They pretty much put it in perspective as to what needs to happen.
Yes.
And it's incremental increases. The rest of the countries, it doesn't matter. We're going to negotiate with all those. It's China.
Yeah.
It's all about China.
It is. And I just, I've learned a lot in this process because, I've heard tariffs and things, but when I see how it affects you personally and the way that you see this playing out, it has really opened my eyes. And I hope that this has opened a lot of people's eyes to the way that this can really affect us.
There's a lot of retailers that own retail stores sitting out there. They hadn't really thought this through yet.
No,
they don't. They're not on the side of where they're wholesaling. If you're a wholesaler and you're importing stuff, you're shaking in your boots right now because you don't know if you're going to have a business in 2 months.
Well, let me ask you this question. Us as consumers, how the toilet paper, how that deal during COVID, where we all just mass. Do you think you're going to see a mass of people buying things
if this goes 2 weeks or longer, Bo? You're going to start to see the shelves you're going to see stuff like that.
I would imagine you would already maybe start seeing some.
Because I've already seen videos on YouTube of people saying with the tariffs, you need to stock up on this, this, and this. Well, there's going to be shortages on
which
that.
will further make the shortage. Well, I just hope for that. I guess that Trump can come to terms with not killing.
And again, we call this show ahead of the curve.
Yes.
I want people out there that are watching this to understand what could possibly happen,
Yes.
not to scare you,
Yes.
but so you can be prepared for it.
Yes, you should be. I mean, we should
Exactly.
prepare for the worst
Now,
case. And
what's
then
the
whatever
chances of this happening?
Yeah, what
And
are the chances?
80-20, 80% chance that Trump backs down and China comes to the table. 20% chance that we're in a mess.
And when will we know this?
We got to
I
know.
think that's
We
the
got to know
question.
something within the next 2 or 3 weeks, Bo.
I mean, it
This
almost
has
seems
gotta
like
be
2 or
settled.
3 hours, to me. the way
Honestly, but 2 to 3 weeks is going to cause a dent in our economy. But if they can settle it and there's light at the end of the tunnel, I think we'll be all right. That we can't lose confidence. And right now, it's very easily confidence. Right. It's a destruction to your confidence when you're 2 levels up from the consumer.
Yeah.
Because you see it coming and there's nothing you can do about it.
But I can see a lot of prosperity in the future. I can see a lot of, I guess, there's a lot of potential.
I'm making plans right now to hire more people, Bo, and produce more things.
Yes.
In our house. We've got the room to do it. Don't have the manpower to do it.
But isn't that what America needs a little bit?
Yes. Everybody needs to get up and work.
Yes.
Go produce something. Quit consuming. Don't consume unless you can produce.
That's right. We're dependent on this is the fruition of that happening.
I don't mean produce chaos either. I just mean produce a product.
I was about to go produce a chaos. I didn't know what you meant.
And I hope people will listen to this because I do this video not to scare people, again, to prepare them and let them see and understand. If you listen to the news media,
yes,
it's the conservative side is like, oh, Trump's tough. He's going to tear down China. He's putting tariffs on China. No, he's putting tariffs on us.
Yes, he is.
He's penalizing us. Okay, but it's for a purpose. It's the wake up call. It's a dose of castor oil.
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
It is.
Granny used to give
time to clean out
years
the system.
ago, back before my time. Granny used to give the kids the castor oil, and it made them sicker than a dog. But it
cleaned
helped
the system
them later.
out.
Yeah,
it oiled them up good.
All right, so we can do that, but we don't have to take a gallon of it at once. We can take a tablespoon at a time.
There you go.
That's what we need to do.
That's right.
I believe.
And this is a process. I mean, this is something.
Trump is the negotiator.
Yeah,
and it's like Glenn Beck and him said. You go into a restaurant, you make your order, the chef is cooking the meal, you got to wait on the meal. We got 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're in the kitchen.
We got 2 weeks.
Hope they don't burn the dinner.
It's April 8th and April 22nd, 23rd, 24th. If we ain't heard something, I'm going to get real nervous.
May 1st. May 1st, you say we're going to feel that
I think if something doesn't happen quick, May 1st, I think.
But even after midnight tonight, I mean, that's going to start going into effect. So there's going to be certain things that it's already going to affect in that time.
On a positive note.
All right.
And this, I don't mean to be negative.
A little bit of sunshine.
But on a positive note, today, crude oil prices went down to $58.
That is, I've seen a little bit of relief.
Okay, West Texas crude is $58. That's going to put our gas prices down probably $2.20 range, $2.25.
Yeah. They're about $2.49 now, $2.45.
That's going to get us down to $2.25 range. Now, that's good because maybe some of our cost of freight is coming down a little bit. Our gas tanks not going to take as much to fill up, but it's a sign of weak economy too at the same time.
It is.
So,
and it's interesting that silver during this period has gone down.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that doesn't. Usually it goes up, so it's kind of strange.
It was down to 28.50.
And it was up to 34, so which is the highest it's been. So maybe it was too high. Maybe
all right, we're going to come back and we're going to talk more on this as things develop.
Yeah, we need to follow up on this.
But every week we're going to come back, and I thank everybody for watching. Thanks, Tamara, for commenting.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate you watching. Please share this video. We're going to be back probably in a couple days, Bo, and give some updates on what's happened. But China is our situation.
That is, and that's why we like to keep you ahead of the curve on the situation.
Right.
That's it.
All right. Thanks for watching. See you again real soon.